guys, my name is Amanda Moe, and today I am responding to Matthew Brady's claim that locally grown produce has greater benefits than organically certified produce. He supported this claim with the secondary claims that pesticides and fertilizers are still used on certified organic farms. Locally grown produce is better for the environment. Locally grown produce can help to alleviate food deserts in urban areas, and locally grown food is likely to have all the benefits of organically certified food. So first, I just want to address the misconception that surrounds organic food. A lot of people think that organic means natural, but the USDA actually only certifies organic food if farmers demonstrate that they're protecting natural resources, conserving biodiversity, and using only approved substances. So that brings me to the first claim that he made, which was that pesticides and fertilizers are still used on certified organic farms. The only fact that he had to support this was actually that there are organic pesticides that are banned from America, and he never addressed the pesticides that are actually used in America on organic farms. The FDA regulates which pesticides are considered organic based on guidelines set forth by the Code of Federal Regulations. And although there are some synthetic substances allowed to be used in organic farming, the regulations state that the use of such substances must not contribute to contamination of crops, soil, or water, meaning that they can only be used in small amounts. And in order to enforce this, synthetic substances such as copper sulfate, which is considered organic, are limited to one application every 24-month period. So it's not like organic farms are allowed to use it all the time. So the next claim he made was that locally grown produce is better for the environment, and he argued that less food miles are used for locally grown crops, and fossil fuels are it would be less fossil fuels for local farms. So in response to both of these statements, smaller farmers would have to have an increased number of trips to deliver their produce, so fossil fuels would actually cost more to the end users. And in addition, according to the Food and Agriculture Organization, organic food has positive long-term effects on soil, it reduces water pollution, and it increases biodiversity. So biodiversity means that like multiple different types of crops are used. So like if one crop dies out, there's still other types that could provide for people. And then moving on to number 3, which is that locally grown produce can help to alleviate food deserts in urban areas. Food deserts are actually defined by the USDA and the American Nutrition Association as parts of the country vapid of fresh fruit, vegetables, and other healthful whole foods, usually found in impoverished areas. And they occur when 33% of a community population resides more than 1 mile from a supermarket or a large grocery store. So locally grown food actually wouldn't improve upon food deserts. It would be just still the distance between those people. And then lastly, his last claim was that locally grown food is likely to have all the benefits of organically certified food, which I think contradicts his main claim that locally grown food is more beneficial than organic food. But then he also claims that locally grown food is likely to have, that smaller farms grow without synthetic pesticides and fertilizers while organic farms still use those. But although some local farmers may choose not to use synthetic pesticides and fertilizers, there are still going to be the local farmers that do use those because they aren't held to the same standards that organically certified farmers are held to. And last, he claims that the organic certification process is long and expensive, which, yes, that's true, but in order to become locally organic or organically certified, it's considered higher quality. So for people to pay for the certification, it means that their food is higher quality and they'll get a higher return for that. So overall, I do not agree that locally grown food produce has greater benefits than organically certified food produce.
All right, structural stuff is pretty solid. On the first point concerning the pesticides, I thought you did a pretty good job talking about what these organic pesticides consist of and suggesting that there's a minimum negative impact, and not exactly sure how we weigh what these pesticides do, which are organic, versus what the local farms do. And I think that that's one of the things that's missing from the advocate's argument that needed to be pointed out a little bit more. On the second point, when you're talking about food miles, I like the idea on that, but you basically say that small farmers are going to have to make more trips, which increases the amount of miles that you're dealing with. That's a big presupposition. I don't doubt that there's probably some truth to it, but it is mostly an assertion. I didn't hear any evidence to back that up. The argument about the benefits of the certified organic farms to soil, water, and biodiversity, I thought that was a pretty good argument. And one of the things that's missing is the contrast to what the local farmers are doing. We don't ever know what it is that the local farmers are doing. I think there's both presuppositions made by the advocate and by you that probably needed to be developed a little bit more so we can make a clearer contrast. The idea of food deserts is briefly defined, and I thought that that was fine. But you say, so it's not really going to solve that problem, and I'm not exactly sure why. I think the assumption that the advocate is making is that local farmers are going to be selling their produce in local areas, like I don't know what they call them,
farmers markets?
Farmers markets, yeah, that's the term I'm looking for. Farmers markets and that sort of thing. But I don't remember that the advocate provided any data on that. You basically say, well, there's not really, that doesn't change where people live or how far they are from a grocery store. That is technically true, although people might be able to get relief from not being able to get to those places, and that's the issue that's important. But I'm not sure that you demonstrate that. You say it, and you seem to believe it, but I think just like the advocate, you needed a little bit more information on that particular point. And then the last point I thought makes a good argument. The idea that maybe it contradicts the original claim is a little problematic, but the one that I think applies here is that there's no information about how these local farmers are going to use techniques that are cheaper or better or healthier for anybody. It's mostly just a criticism of why organically certified farms might have some drawbacks to them without necessarily having the stuff that contradicts and shows that the locally grown is better in some way, shape, or form. And, again, we're back to locally grown. What was it? Somebody made it an argument earlier. I guess it was the GMO one. Some places we don't grow stuff locally very much. Southern California is not a big corn place. So I don't know where we're going to get our locally grown corn to solve these problems. All right, thank you.